Welcome back to Jay's Oracle. I'm your host, Jay. Let's get started. So, this is the O spread for Capricorn for March 2025. And as a brief review, each card represents a house. So, take a good look at the reading there. Each house is associated with an element, a tarot suit, a zodiac sign, and the planet that rules that sign. Okay, so let's take a look at the first house. And for the first house, that's your identity. This is you, your personality, your physicality, how you look. It's associated with fire, wands, Aries, and Mars. And you got the Four of Cups. A young man or woman sits cross-legged with his arms folded because of the turbulent emotions that are overcoming him. He seems unhappy, looking at 3 cups in front of him while ignoring or denying a 4th cup offered by a hand emerging from a cloud. He looks to be conflicted about his views and deeds. The steadiness represented in number 4 is not embodied. This is because an important component is missing. An understanding of the situation's wisdom. This card represents a call to take a fresh look at life and examine the current circumstances. Boredom, re-evaluating emotional affairs or connections, indulging in an emotional state and ignoring present opportunities. So right now at this particular moment, this is how you look. This is your identity. This is your personality. And you might want to think about that for a little bit. So now for the second house. The second house is your resources. This is your self-worth, your possessions, your money, and how you earn it. Associations with Earth, Pentacles, Taurus, and Venus. And you got the 3 of Swords. This card's picture makes it self-explanatory. The background is gloomy, indicating stormy weather ahead. Together, the heart and the swords indicate profound emotional and mental turmoil. As a result of this disappointment, there may be quarrels or separations. However, as swift as the swords are, a flash of insight might occur, allowing the person concerned to put this disappointment and sorrow into perspective and begin to heal. Even though this is a sorrowful time, there is a sense of clearing the ground or the beginning of something new. Swords are symbolic of a person's thinking and perception, and therefore imply that challenges in a relationship or degree of disappointment and sorrow can be overcome if confronted with honesty. Emotional quarrels and separation. Love affair ends due to one of the partners being unfaithful. So currently, your self-worth is a broken heart, which is unfortunate. This happens to everybody. This may or may not resonate. If it doesn't, don't force it. But for some people out there, you're dealing with emotional quarrels, separation, and a love affair that ended. The next house is the 3rd house, which is communication and knowledge. What you know, your early learning style, your siblings, your neighbors, your short or routine journeys, your environment, associations, air, swords, Gemini, and Mercury. And you got the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles differs from the other 3 knights in a significant way. His horse is pictured patiently studying their surroundings. In a recently plowed field, results are emerging. The image is serene. This knight possesses boundless patience and tolerance. Furthermore, he is nice and trustworthy and will complete a task no matter how long it takes. He never fails to achieve his objectives because he never gives up. Others seek out his attributes of endurance and capacity for honest effort. This is a finance-oriented, analytical, and slow-moving, dark-haired young man, someone who is methodical, reliable, and logical. This person is sensible, systematic, and stable in his approach, and he can be trusted. In the spread, he signifies a happy outcome of a situation, particularly business ventures that have gone on for a long time or appeared unfruitful at first. So you have some slow communication. That's going to be that's how you're at the moment learning, and that's the communication coming from others will be slow, and your shorter routine journeys will probably be slow, but it'll be fruitful and solid and knowledgeable. The next house is the fourth house. And the fourth house has to do with home and family. This is where you live, your attachments, your roots, your structure, your history, your domestic life, and your emotional security or otherwise. Associated with water, cups, Cancer, and the moon. And you got the Emperor reversed, which is authority and structure. The Emperor represents the Empress's masculine side. As the Fool's earthly father, he is the complementary role model to the Empress. The Fool learns about authority, reason, power, and structure from the Emperor. After learning about the Empress's yielding, intuitive, and giving nature, the Fool now learns about balancing it with structure and leadership aspects. The Emperor signifies material stability and big worldly achievements that necessitate focus, determination, hard work, and dedication. The Fool leaves behind the natural, nurturing softness of the Empress to learn from his earthly father, the Emperor. The challenge is striking a balance between worldly desires and what is important in life in the long run. The Emperor strives to build long-lasting structures, a legacy. Note the Emperor's armor, disguised by his red cloak. It implies his inner constitution and power that lie beneath enormous strength, which is available to him at any time. The jewels on his head signify his financial prosperity and rank, while the orb he holds symbolizes his rational grasp of the laws that must be followed by man. The Emperor's essence is a representation of spiritual creative forces channeled into dynamic force, creating solid and functional ideas. He represents the desire for ambition, power, riches, and fame. The Emperor represents structure, power, and wisdom, a man with authority who can build stability and has achieved worldly success. It also represents dealing with an authority figure like a boss or someone who prefers to be their own boss. It can symbolize a man who has difficulty expressing emotion or is unwilling to let defenses down. And you got it reversed. So, reversed is immature, selfish, domineering man, hatred of authority or about to lose authority, feeling threatened, drained, vulnerable, lacking in ambition, overshadowed by dominant parent, a man who is exploiting his authority by acting foolishly. The latter can also be advice given to the seeker, depending on the purpose of the spread. So this is in your fourth house, home and family, where you live, your roots, your structure, domestic life. So at home, you're being very selfish, you're being domineering, you're rebelling against authority, you're feeling threatened, you're being immature, and you're overshadowed by a dominant parent. So I'm just describing what the cards are saying. So I'm just giving you a heads up. This is how things are at this particular moment. So in the next house, the fifth house, this is the house of creativity and children. The things we give birth to and take risks on. This is where we play, fall in love, and create. Associations: fire, wands, Leo, the sun. And you got the Chariot, mind mastery and transcendence. The Chariot might be the most mystical card of the tarot. Within its symbols, so many secrets are revealed. Having made the first personal decision about love and relationships, the Fool must now learn to regulate and balance opposing energies within himself to run a steady course and overcome other types of hurdles and conflicts in life. Having learned about the dualistic nature through the Lover's card, the Fool realizes that life is a cycle of strife and victories. He must now learn how to resolve larger challenges and conflicts. In contrast to the Lover's card, where he was naked and vulnerable, we see the Fool heavily armored, upright in his vehicle of battle, implying the need to keep the ego in check and connected with an inspired mind, symbolized by the 8-pointed star crown over his head, the blue 4-pillar star-spangled canopy. The Chariot and the 4 pillars represent the 4 elements and the seasonal cycles of change. His chariot is drawn by 2 opposing sphinxes, one black and the other white, which pull the chariot in opposite directions, the result of the union of opposites in the Lover's card. His main task is to keep them under control, symbolizing man's struggle in balancing opposite desires, feelings, and thoughts within himself, as well as the conflict between staying with what is familiar and moving forward. Look closely and you will notice that there are no reins attached to the sphinxes. They are masterminded by the Fool, who seems to be cemented in his chariot from the bottom down. He is in control and balanced as he holds the wand of the magician in his right arm. All refer to the mystical knowledge he received from each of the characters we've met so far. At this point in life, you must be practical and regularly apply your developed skills as well as mental focus to overcome any problem or struggle you may be experiencing. This card represents triumph. Hard work is about to be rewarded. Overnight success, material gain, news or friends from afar. Consistent effort is needed to overcome your struggle. Your inner gifts are about to emerge. Don't fuss. Get on with it. And here's a bonus. Strategist, high-level problem solver, visionary, innovator, specializes in overseas expansion. And you got that in your 5th house of creativity and children. So that means that you are in a masterful energy in regards to your creativity and where you play, and of course kids. So this would be a really good energy to utilize to give birth to new ideas, to be innovative, to be creative. That's great. And the next house is the 6th house. That is work and service. This is your health and habits, your responsibilities, the mundane work that you do, and those who do work for you. Associations: Earth, Pentacles, Virgo, and Mercury. And you got the Moon. Hidden wisdom. The Fool's quest for enlightenment is due to end. He is still traveling in the celestial realm of the Moon, representing yet another cycle of change and development. He realizes that there is still much to learn from the heavens. He had a brief but wonderful respite with the star after the dark series of cards in the underworld, only to realize that the next card, the Moon, is another somber card. The night image appears to be identical to the star at first glance, but closer inspection reveals that it is not as tranquil as it appears. The crawfish will remain underwater until the Fool recognizes that it must be allowed to rise and leave the murky waters. The Moon represents the ephemeral, vague, and ambiguous character of emotions. She is the goddess of dreams, fantasy, imagination, and unconscious thoughts. The Moon is regarded as the mistress of the night, the womb where men go to rest, sleep, and dream every night. It rules the unconscious, the realm of dreams, fancies, and imagination. Ideas or revelations received through the unconscious are difficult to explain or put into words logically compared to the sun, where inspiration and drive are clear. As the Fool transforms, the unconscious must be paid attention to. Dreams are likely to change as he becomes more self-aware, because dreams are the language of the unconscious mind. The moon is related to the night and represents darkness, confusion, and a lack of clarity. However, as moon cycles change over time, the truth will be revealed through intuition or dreams. Psychic impressions, information from dreams. Unexpected change in a situation or feelings. Need for sleep. Rely on self. Mood swings. Emotional changes. Harnessed imagination producing creative output. This card indicates hidden issues, unspoken anxieties, and guidance through dreams. So that was in your 6th house. So I think that you're going to have some unconscious, subconscious messages regarding your work, as well as your health and habits and your responsibilities. So make sure you pay attention to that. You might want to have a journal next to your bed, so when you wake up, you can write it down quickly, because that stuff disappears fast. If you've had dreams the night before, typically when you wake up, you got a brief few seconds to remember that stuff, and then it's gone. Now on to your 7th house, which is the house of relationships. This is where you interact with others and how. Committed romantic or business partnerships and openly declared enemies are represented here. Associations Air, Swords, Libra, and Venus. And you got the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles sits contently on her throne, surrounded by a lush, fertile background brimming with the earth's bounty. Flowers and rabbits, which represent fertility, are framed on the card. The goat's head on the armrest represents Capricorn, the earthy sign. She is shown as a pragmatic woman who appreciates material possessions and is skilled at obtaining them, since she appears to be enjoying herself. She understands exactly what she wants and is happy when she gets it. This also means that she accepts responsibility for her judgments and is fair and wise in business. The reason she is affluent is due to her hard work. She represents a helpful friend or employer with a generous personality and the ability to provide realistic advice. This card describes a well-off, realistic, and supportive woman who may also be a professional or business person. The Queen of Coins would make an excellent business advisor or mentor. She is an abundant, helpful businesswoman with dark skin or hair and is supportive, practical, and wealthy. So this supportive, practical, hardworking woman with good advice is either who you are in relationships, or you're connected to this person in relationships, or this is how you need to be. So keep that in mind. On to the next house, the 8th house, which is the tough stuff. This house represents the things we don't want to talk about: death, taxes, inheritances. It's also joint resources, other people's money, sex, and transformation. It's associated with water, cups, Scorpio, and Pluto. And you got the Wheel of Fortune, which is unexpected change of fortune. The Fool, which is who we all are on the tarot journey. We are all the Fool. That is the real significator for all of us. The Fool learns from the Wheel of Fortune that much of life appears to be random, with unanticipated quick changes and opportunities. There are many ups and downs in life. He recognizes that the one constant in life is change. All situations will ebb and flow continuously. He learns to respect the seasons and the cycle of life, and therefore the right timing for action. The Fool learns about the fast-paced natural cycles of change through the Wheel of Fortune. Therefore, it represents both stability and change. This card appears as a light-hearted bringer of good fortune. It is perhaps the card that contains the most alchemical symbols, emphasizing the cycles of transformation on various levels. So, E.A. Waite, Edward Arthur Waite, was a big part of bringing out the modern-day tarot. Waite asked for his Wheel of Fortune card to be illustrated with a blend of Egyptian and biblical figures, emphasizing the notion of death and rebirth. The snake on the left represents Seth, the Egyptian god who introduced death to the earth and assassinated the noble king, his brother, Osiris. Anubis, the jackal-headed figure on the right, is a guide to deceased souls and a bringer of new life. On the top, a sphinx representing Horus, the son of Osiris, and the god of resurrection is depicted. The zodiac is another wheel depicting the cycle of death and rebirth, gain via loss and vice versa. The four animals in each corner appear to be inspired by Ezekiel's biblical vision, Ezekiel 1:10. They also reflect the astrological fixed elements of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, which symbolize earth, fire, water, and air. Another depiction of a vast, ever-revolving wheel that indicates a passage through time by season is the zodiac. The elements represent those used in alchemy, and the symbols on the wheel spokes are similarly alchemical. The card's message is that through constant renewal and cycles of death and rebirth, the inner self evolves and transforms to create a perfect state of harmony between heaven and earth. The Wheel of Fortune also depicts the inner drive force that is formed when the cycle of time turns. The hub of the wheel remains stationary as the rim rotates, depicting time marching on year after year, season after season. The sun, moon, and planets are always revolving, circling around the zodiac wheel, yet the wheel itself is always the same. If you will, it is our deep or unconscious personality that frequently invites a change of situation in life. Although we may not always like change, we can typically perceive the opportunity for growth that it entails or seek to blame life. Fortunate coincidences, quick changes, external influences, fortunate meetings, and lucky breaks shape your life currently, Capricorn. The wheel has turned, and you are beginning a new cycle. Unexpected opportunities are likely. Although it is a positive card, matters are in a state of flux, and you feel confused. It is important not to resist this phase, and when the dust settles, you may find new friends, career, an unexpected new home or income. The Wheel of Fortune represents influences that can change the outcome of a circumstance. Regardless of the constraints, this card represents a breakthrough or unexpected swift change, such as moving residences, meeting someone new, or obtaining a job offer, depending on where it falls in the spread. So that's really good news. And for the 8th house, I think that's really good news for the 8th house because it has to do with joint resources, other people's money, transformation, and of course death, taxes, and inheritances. So it's possible, Capricorn, you're going to be getting you're going to get an inheritance. You're going to be doing well on your taxes. It's possible that you might be on the receiving end of joint resources as well as other people's money. And if you're lucky, you're going to get some good sex too. You're sort of a lusty character, Capricorn. Those of us who know Capricorn, we know Capricorn's a lusty guy or girl. But that's good. Enjoy it. Be safe and clean. On to the 9th house, which is expansion and beliefs. This house is about expanding your mind, your horizons, your knowledge, and your belief systems. It's religion, philosophy, travel, adventure, law, and the learning we do because we want to. The associations are fire, wands, Sagittarius, and Jupiter. And you got the High Priestess for the 9th house. So the High Priestess is the unseen and it's intuition. The Magician may have imagination, a process and logic. What he lacks is intuition, which is represented by the High Priestess. Here, the Fool, now the Magician, is faced with the unknown. He must learn to acknowledge and develop his psychic instinct. Astrologers associate the High Priestess with the Moon, the ruler of the night. The card also depicts the subconscious. The High Priestess sits on a throne between two white and black columns, symbolizing nature's duality. The two aspects of good and evil, or positive and negative forces, the conscious and unconscious, the essence and the not yet manifest form, darkness and light, and the dual nature of the feminine, birth-giving or destructive. She sits passively in plain blue robes, hands clasped gently, holding a scroll with the inscription Torah, T-O-R-A-H, the law of natural wisdom. If the letters were to be rearranged, the word could almost read tarot, which refers to the tarot's inherent wisdom and law. Her ethereal aspect contrasts with the Empress's earthly wealth and fertility. Yet the two combined form the feminine principle, or the nature of spiritual and earthly mother. Too much emphasis on one leads to an imbalance. And as you have seen so far, the tarot emphasizes balance and wholeness in all levels of the personality, seeking to achieve integrity of being. The ethereal quality is a metaphor for unrealized potential. The treasures of the unconscious mind are brought to consciousness through the High Priestess. She can also signify a link to the occult and the esoteric, as well as heightened hearing or mediumship. The unseen or unknown alludes to hidden talents and potential that must be revealed. All life began in darkness, whether it was the blackness of the womb or the darkness of the soil. As a result, a period of gestation is required for the formation and birth of a new life. The fetus developing in the darkness and secrecy of the room until the time comes for it to be born into the light is an illustration of this. The waxing and waning moon is represented by the silver crown on her head with the full orb in the center. The spiritual celestial mother and heightened feminine perspective nature are represented by this card. When this card occurs in a spread, it means that something hidden or unknown is about to be disclosed. It also represents unconscious beliefs, fear, or emotions, as well as the ability to seek advice through dreams. It represents mediumship and psychic abilities, as well as a curiosity in mystical and esoteric studies, and the development of feminine abilities of intuition and natural insight. This card urges you to explore your unconscious and the meaning of your dreams. As an outcome card, it indicates that the future or outcome is undetermined. Be patient and wait for the proper timing. Furthermore, it can signify a pregnant woman depending on where it occurs in the spread. Here's a bonus. This is a sensitive person who is greatly awakened. Artist, channeler, musician, medium, healer, or mental healer are all terms used to describe people who work with their higher mind. A diplomat or peacemaker, they enjoy a higher sense of perception and gentleness and have the ability to perceive the wants and the needs of others. Also, it represents someone who makes an excellent counselor. And you got that in your 9th house. So your beliefs are going to be expanding to incorporate the occult and the esoteric. And currently the human species, their psychic development and abilities are starting to spark up and open up and develop and get more and more tuned in. So that's happening too. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if you start going to the bookstore and looking more into the occult section. And the next house is the 10th house, career. This is your career, your reputation, you in the world, your public persona, your social responsibilities. Associations, Earth, Pentacles, Capricorn, and Saturn. And you got, in the 10th house, you got the 3 of Wands. The man who featured in the Two of Wands reappears here. This time he is looking over a much larger horizon. This is symbolized by the Three of Wands he had already planted firmly in the ground. The decision he made after contemplating in the Two of Wands has taken him to the next set. His consistent efforts have been rewarded. He is ready to move beyond what he has achieved. The card's message is this: the person who works relentlessly toward his objective will cross the finish line and beyond. Moreover, the next phase of growth will come quickly. Success and expansion. This card indicates that although much has been achieved, there is more success and expansion to come. Rejoice. And here's a bonus: expansion of business through more branches, franchising, overseas branches, or international growth. So those are all really, really positive, good things to appear in your 10th house, which is your career. But I will tell you this, Capricorn, be very careful right now, because there's a lot of things shifting and changing right now all over the world, especially in America. It's a strange, turbulent time. But at the same time, when things get shooken up like they're being shooken up right now, there are these little new stems, beginnings of a flower that didn't exist before the shakeup. So try to keep your eyes open, and this might be the prime time to get on board early with something new that might sprout into a magnificent tree. And the next house that you have is the 11th house, which is friends and community. Here we find your hopes and dreams, your friends, your associations, and your social life. This is associated with air, swords, Aquarius, and Uranus. And you got the Page of Pentacles. This card represents a young individual who is studious or financially savvy. If you've just started a project, it could also mean profit or minor winnings. This is a youth who is inquisitive and has financial intelligence. That's really good news. Okay, so I think that you might have some new friends coming in who might have some money, and or you might be building a new community, or you might be having messages of a new community or new friends. So that's also very good. That's a good card to have. And the final house, the 12th house, which is the house of secrets and undoing. This is us in private. It's the things we keep locked away in the closet, the things that bring us undone. It's also karmic lessons, spirituality, where we escape, and what we know subconsciously. Associations: water, cups, Pisces, and Neptune. And you got the Fool in the 12th house. So make sure you pay attention to this, Capricorn. This is a warning to you. There's young, youthful foolishness that could lead to your undoing. The Fool's adventure begins with separation or leaving the past behind. The voyage starts with a young man who appears innocent, happy, and full of promise. The Fool is also a symbol of everlasting youth and innocence. The Fool is leaving his home and his parents behind, taking a risk that symbolizes the first step towards self-actualization. The card represents sudden opportunities and a decision to embark on an adventure. There's a choice to be made as a new life cycle begins, for the journey cannot begin without a decision. A decision is the first step. This card expresses the need to let go of old habits and begin something new and unexplored. Anything can happen, but there must be a beginning step. It denotes someone who is unconventional, courageous, and daring. It can also symbolize a new opportunity, meeting someone new, or beginning a new cycle or scenario where you may feel inexperienced or unprepared, depending on where it appears in the spread. The outcome is determined by how effectively you manage yourself and retain your balance. Nevertheless, it is the experience gained from this new opportunity that will enrich your life, not the outcome that the Fool represents. When the Fool appears in a spread, it denotes risk-taking and trusting one's instincts. Also, surprising influences are around the corner. Now is the time to think beyond the box and believe in yourself and your ability. It heralds the beginning of an exciting mental, physical, or spiritual adventure. And here's the bonus. Someone with a great deal of mental potential, a disruptor of a business or field, a young business person, a unique and unexpected chance that has the potential to open doors. You'll get an answer if you take a step forward. But this is in the 12th house. This is with secrets and undoing. So I'm going to say this: on the side of secrets and privateness, this risky new beginning could be a positive thing. But on the side of undoing, this could be your downfall. So I know Capricorns are very careful, they're methodical, and they plan and plot, and they don't take risks. If they do, it's a very calculated risk. So Capricorn, make sure you have a pristine plan behind your calculated risk. So now let's look at the advice. What is the advice for this J's O spread for Capricorn for March 2025? You got the King of Swords. The King of Swords looks calmly straight ahead, wearing a purple cloak symbolizing wisdom, while he holds his sword upright, unfazed by the stormy clouds building up, a common sight in the suit of swords. The air appears to be still. We see the cypress tree standing erect. This king exudes inner strength, self-assurance, and a strong sense of conviction. The sword represents the mind and the air element. It emphasizes a desire for truth and justice. Can you find the parallels between this card and a justice card? A pleading for forgiveness or compassion will not influence the King of Swords. He might be tough in his judgments, but he is also fair. He's always been feared and revered. He tends to be too suspicious and overcautious on the negative side. However, his sense of justice and fairness are admirable as long as they can be modified with a little compassion. Older man with an authoritative personality, vision, and experience. Someone who gives truthful advice or fair opinions, although they may seem harsh. So I think what the advice is, you need to be clear, concise, fair, and definitely authoritative. You need to be clear, concise, fair with yourself, as well as the situations you're finding yourself in and the new roads you might be beginning. You need to be very clear and think clear, be as sharp as a sword. And the root energy of this whole reading is the Four of Pentacles. In this image, a man is seen clutching the gold he has earned. Another gold coin hangs over the crown on his head, indicating thoughts he has or is considering for future monetary gain. This card represents both the number 4's strength of purpose and the Pentacle's monetary aspect. Save half of what you make while investing the other half wisely is the card's message. Doing well financially. Financial matters are currently your top priority, and you are well positioned to excel in that area. Remember to set aside money for savings as well as some to reinvest in your business. So I think that's pretty good. This is a pretty good reading, Capricorn. This is describing who and what you are at this particular moment in time. So examine it well, take your time. Please, thank you for showing up. Please tell all your friends. Please click like, subscribe, and share. Please check out jsoracle.com. And I'll see you next time.